Hey folks, welcome to Verified Investing. My name is Gareth Soloway, Chief Market Strategist here. In today's video, we're going to analyze the grains. Now, I'm going to tell you why. I think this is going to be the next big trade in terms of bull market moves. Grains have been beaten down for a long period of time, and I'm starting to see key breakouts at the low end of the chart. There aren't many things out there that are at the low end of the chart, nor that have major bullish setups. And the key here is this, is that during recessions, do people still have to eat? The answer is yes. Are grains generally cheap? The answer is yes. In that point, means that again, during recessions, the demand stays the same and potentially can go up as people switch from more expensive type things to the lower, cheaper grains. And that again can drive demand, which drives price higher. So let's jump into the charts here. We're going to take a look at wheat. Notice again, if I zoom out on the chart on wheat, I mean, this is an incredible chart, folks. The downside that we have seen since early 2022 is unbelievable. And again, even prior to 2022, I mean, you're going back to 2020, and that's where we currently are trading. Now, keep in mind that during that same period, we've seen inflation just in 1 year, it was 9%. But let's just say aside from that, it was 3% and 3% on either side of that big inflation year. You're talking about 15% inflation, yet grains, especially wheat, are at lows not seen since 2020. And that, again, my friends, is something to pay attention to, especially because grains are looked at as a defensive play if we head into a recession. So if you're someone like me, seeing the jobs market, how it's weakening, if you're looking at other factors like consumer spending starting to slow, if you're someone that says the only reason the economy is holding up because people with a lot of investment dollars are still spending, but if the stock market stops going up, we slip very quickly into a recession, then these grains are very interesting. Now, going back to the wheat chart, let's take a look here at what we have. Look at this. So again, we're hovering at the lower end of the chart, and there's a trend line right here connecting the low from August. Take a look at this. Connect it to the low from right here in May of 2025. So this is the low in 2024 of August to the low in May of 2025. And look at where we're sitting. And look at how you're starting to see some accumulation down here in the chart. All right. Now, granted, we still need to have a breakout. There's a couple levels to watch here. So number one, we have this down sloping trend line right here, and then we have a secondary trend line here. So we do have to see a decent move up. But for me, knowing the defensive nature, I'm already starting to accumulate down here, expecting us to go up into this level on wheat, maybe stall out, and then eventually break out to the upside. And again, we're talking about, potentially 20% upside here over the next 6 months or so in wheat, in my opinion. Now, if we look at other grains out there, you have soybeans. Now, soybeans is interesting because, yes, same sort of deal. It's trading at the low end of the chart. This one, though, is interesting because look at this. If we take the high pivot from May 2024 and drag it down to the high in June 2025, look at where we are. We're just underneath a major breakout opportunity. Now, you might say, well, I don't trade wheat, I don't trade soybeans, or I can't. The answer is you can. There are ETFs for both wheat, WHEAT, that's the commodity, WEAT. Take a look at this, WEAT. This is your Tecrium wheat fund. This is on the New York Stock Exchange and can be traded. And you can see I have the same trend lines right here. And look at the little bubble up right off of technical support. This one, everyone can buy, assuming you're in the US. I don't know about outside the country, but nonetheless, that's one to buy. Soybeans, SOYB, that's the Tecrium soybean fund, trades on the New York Stock Exchange as well. And look at that chart, same exact chart. We can put that same trend line in. So you can get exposure. Now, listen, is soybeans and wheat a sexy investment, meaning like, wow, this is going to be 100, 200% winner? The answer is no. I mean, let's be fair, right? I always call it a spade a spade. I give you guys it straight. These are for people that are more defensive, thinking that stocks are overbought, that they're expensive, that we could be due for a 40%, 30% type correction in the markets. And again, instead of getting or losing 40 or 30%, I think there's probably 20, 30% upside in some of these grains. All right. So again, think about it like that. It's not necessarily like, wow, I'm investing in the next thing that's going to go up, 3x or 2x. It's about not losing in certain stocks or in the stock market while also net gaining in the grains. All right, so next up we have oats. Oats has been beaten down, same sort of deal, getting very close to technical support. Look again at the drop that we've seen on this. There's very, very clear downsloping trend lines here that eventually we want to see break out. But I love kind of the bottom area right here of technical support, right? So we're just, again, into that support. Now, we're going into two charts, folks. The next two charts have already broken out, basically. They are the golden child charts here of the grains, and that would be corn. Let's take a look at corn. Look at this, guys. Look at the breakout on corn on Friday, and look at the move off of its lows. Now, listen, zooming out, it's still way beaten down, right? Way, way beaten down. But look at this. You have this beautiful downsloping trend line right here connecting through the high of April 2025, high of May 2025, high of June and early July 2025, and then right here in August before the breakout. And look at the beauty of this. It broke out, made a bull flag, and continuing to the move up. So again, this one has already broken out. Again, do I think there's more upside? Yeah, I still think this is going from, let's say, this 412, 414 level. You know, you're probably talking about it going back to about 585, which is a big move. I mean, just to get back up there, you're talking about upside on corn, even from the current level of 40%. So 40%, that is pretty awesome. All right, then lastly, this is one of my favorite charts. It hasn't even started to move up yet. It is right into major technical support. You can see the one arrow I put in down here, but look at the beauty of this trend line right here. And again, this is rough rice. Rough rice would be one to look to the upside. Now, rough rice, I haven't found an ETF or ETV for that I can trade without the futures, but corn does have one. This chart absolutely does. In fact, it is the same exact symbol as the actual name, CORN. You go right here, and there you can see the Tuckrium Corn Fund right there. And there it is, folks. There's your move up. So the beauty of a lot of these commodities, folks, everyone thinks, oh, I have to have a futures account to trade the commodities. A lot of them have beautiful ETF, or as they're called here in the commodity sector, ETVs, and these can get you exposure. And considering I'm always looking for things on sale, the grains have been forgotten. The inflation is palpable. Eventually, grains will have to go up. You know what the best solving problem for low prices is? Low prices. Meaning that when prices go lower, do farmers rush out to plant more, or do they say, wow, I can't even make money planting, so I'm going to cut back on planting? And you know what that does? It's a less supply, so obviously price has to go up. And so again, you have this kind of confluence of a defensive zone with the grains, with low prices already that are making farmers say, okay, maybe I won't plant as much, which then solves that problem, driving price up as well. And ultimately, again, the charts, the technicals of the chart are all pointing to moves higher in the grains. That is my secret sauce, my secret play that most people, in fact, I have not seen on one financial news website or broadcast, CNBC, Bloomberg, anywhere else, anyone talking about this. But as I showed you, charts are breaking out. We're into technical support of multi-year lows. We know the inflation impact. We know the ultimate logic dictates likely upside from here. Great stuff, guys. Hope you found this video interesting. My goal is to always educate, maybe give some alpha along the way with some good trade ideas, and your kind comments and showing each other, showing your friends and family this type of analysis, simple analysis, trendline analysis. To me, that is the answer. Keeps emotion at bay and lets us make logical decisions based on probability. You guys go have a great rest of your weekend. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.